Welcome to Redvee TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2019 season, as a Redvee special as we look at the decision of Justin Holbrook to leave at the end of the season to return to the NRL with the Gold Coast Titans. Slightly inevitable in the end.
Yeah, disappointment obviously, because you'd liked him to have extended his contract after all the words that were coming out of the club, that everything was fine from his part, but he wanted to chat to Aussie clubs. But yeah, inevitable as well, and that's it. It's something that we've been expecting, isn't it?
I got slightly concerned when it was supposedly going to get done after Easter, and then it all went quiet. And I think we mentioned it on one of the preview shows that there was a little niggle there, and then after that it started feeding out a little bit. But you have to say, any NRL assistant who comes over here obviously has the ambition to go back to Australia, and get one of those jobs over there. And I think it was one of the Gold Coast Titans chairman who basically said this morning that coming over to England is a little bit like the last stage of an apprenticeship for an Aussie assistant coach before gaining an NRL position.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's not wrong there, is he? Unfortunately, we do find ourselves as the second-rate competition compared to the NRL.
I think we have to accept that, don't we? It's been like that for many a year.
You don't have to accept it. I think you've got to kind of acknowledge it, but we shouldn't be accepting being second-rate. We should be striving to be the ultimate competition, but we're not that at the minute. So, as you say, an Aussie coach coming over here, kind of having his first shot at being a head coach. If you're successful, you're always going to go back. I mean, you have a look at Aussie coaches who've come over here. Huddersfield's head coach, he's not been successful, so he's not linked with clubs back.
Yeah.
Adrian Lamb comes over, he's not been successful, he's not been linked back.
And I think that was what Justin Holbrook came out and said in the words that he put in his announcement that he was going home, that unfortunately the only time an NRL side will come calling is if you are successful.
Yeah.
And it's testament to probably the job that he has done at the club, near an 80% win rate.
Yeah.
That has seen him linked with clubs in Australia. Now, for me, for Justin Holbrook to be deemed a full success over here, which he has been up to now, he has to win at least one of the two major trophies this season.
Yeah, I was thinking about that in the car on the way up here, that it's a shame that the League Leaders Shield isn't a major, because winning that twice and proving that you're the most consistent club in the league should be some bigger accolade, but because of how Sky perceive it by taking it back in its box when we could have won it down here a couple of years ago, how the fans perceive it as the hubcap, how there's no real incentive to win it. I mean, you can argue that you get a better shot in the playoffs, but there's no real incentive to win.
Only this season though. That's the first year in a long time that you do get that extra one.
Yeah, it's a shame it's not one of the majors.
Last year it was just a semi, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a shame it's not one of the majors, but yeah, ultimately on-field success will define his legacy here. And
I'm sure he won't want to go home without knocking off the trophies as possible. He wants to add them to his resume, doesn't he?
I mean, to be fair, you can turn around and say he's done an awful lot for the club and the town. He's reconnected the club with the fans and the town.
Massively. You only have to look at some of the videos that we did. We started Redvee TV in obviously the season Kieran Cunningham was dismissed. You go back and look at some of them very early videos, there was anger, there was fans who were disillusioned, and people were saying it was a long way back. Well, Justin Holbrook came in and essentially, not far off, turned it round straight away. Yeah,
pretty much. That's it, officially. His first game was the Hull game that we won 45-0, wasn't it?
Yeah,
officially.
Newcastle.
And he did take him time, because we did have a couple of results thrown in there that weren't great, a couple of performances that weren't great, but once he kind of got a grip on the team and kind of the culture and started changing that round, as I say, it's testament to him that he's kind of linked the club and the fans and the town back as they should be, especially like a working class town as St Helens. There's not much here really, so the club's got to be the heartbeat of that. I mean, the community foundation's probably grown off the back of that. Unfortunately, fans will look at what he does off the pitch and be grateful for it, but ultimately they're going to turn around and say, well, what pots did we win?
So Yeah, and I think the club and Justin himself will know that and will aim for that.
Oh yeah.
But he's leaving the club in rude health, isn't he?
Yes.
When he came in, he put Regan Grace straight into the side as a mainstay. He stayed in the side.
Yeah, he's give
youth a chance. The recruitment, which Justin's may have a little bit of a say in, but recruitment is done further up in the club. Mike Rush and the rest of the backroom staff identify players and decide what they want to get in. So we're in a better state than when he left, and equally, moving forward, as we look to recruit a new head coach, what better way to be able to go to Australia to recruit, to look at the best NRL assistants and say, listen, come over to St Helens, look at the state of the way the club is in, give it a couple of years here, and if you do want to go home after that, look what's happened to Justin Holbrook. He's got that role.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's it. He continued with Grace. He's given Morgan Knowles the captaincy for the game the other week against London, so he's given Matty Costello, Matty Lees, Josh Eves, Sim, Jack Wellesby, all debuts. I think there's somebody I've missed there. Did he give Aaron Smith his debut as well? He's given Bentley, who was a good championship player, his debut, and look how he's coming on. Batchelor as well, who I'm sure will kick on. He has done loads for the club. He has on field, and he's kind of that ethic, that kind of, I don't know what you call it, fabric of the club, that we should be going out there. And I'm sure Mike Rush went over and made an absolute stellar signing in Justin Holbrook. We've got to put the faith in him doing it.
He's got the blueprint now, hasn't
he? Yeah.
What to go over there, what he's looking for, what he wants in a head coach. And this won't be a shock decision for the club.
No.
They'll have known probably the last couple of weeks the way it was likely to go. Justin's been honest all the way through with them, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He asked for time to talk to clubs in Australia. If he got a good enough offer, he said he was going to go back. The club will be prepared for that. And I think Eamon McMahon has said in the statement that came out that we're not standing by our laurels. There is a shortlist there. We have got a plan B. Now is the time to basically go and execute. And we've got time to do it. It's only the end of July. We don't have to rush into an appointment, as the case may be, like we did when we sat Cunningham. We had a couple of weeks spell. We can take our time and make sure that the man who comes over is the right man for the job.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. We'll have had the shortlist drawn up possibly at the start of the season. I think if anybody thinks that people just, clubs, whether it be football, rugby or whoever, just turn around and think, well, this is who we've got, we're going to stick with it. You don't know how sport goes, and 6 defeats in a row, all of a sudden, Saints aren't going to start hurriedly getting the back of an envelope out and writing names on the back.
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if there wasn't always a shortlist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just in case
that's
anything happens mid-season.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. You'll always have a shortlist. You will always as well, not only coach. They'll have players that they're identifying for recruitment. I know that might not come in for us for 2020, but that's exactly what a club will do. It's due diligence. And be able to,
and I think we've been at forums things in the past where they've talked about that, and they've basically got the squad mapped out for the next 3 or 4 years. Players who are going to be there in 4 years, players who are going to leave after 3, etc., etc. It doesn't just get cobbled together every May when they decide who we're going to keep the following season, does it? Questions?
It's felt like that in the past sometimes.
Questions from Twitter and Facebook, which we asked for earlier.
Yeah, we'll go with Facebook first while I've got them loaded. David Molyneux. Is that coach from Halifax our guy? I think Richard Marshall.
I don't think so. I think we may have put 2 and 2 together and potentially got 5 when it was suggested. But I think we'll go back to Australia. I don't think there's anybody British who will be considered. The probably best there might be Ian Watson from Salford, but I don't see that happening at this moment in time.
Yeah, possibly. Zoe Brown-Smith, why is he leaving a successful club to go to a team that is struggling and the fans are probably not as appreciative as we are?
Because he's moving from St Helens to go home where he's from, and he's going to live on the Gold Coast in the bright sunshine on mega money.
I feel that this question is going to come up quite a bit. He's going for the challenge.
And the challenge?
Yeah, he's going to try and turn Gold Coast from wooden spoon winners, potentially wooden spoon winners.
Do you win that?
To well, yeah, you just get given it. But that's it. His challenge is to get them further up the league. It moves him closer to home. That's why he's going. Now, I've seen a couple of comments on Twitter, and it doesn't seem like their fans are as appreciative of Justin Holbrook.
I don't think many Australian fans are. They don't have the same rabidness about like we do, I don't think.
It's empty vessels make the most noise, and it's usually people who will have a moan who go onto Twitter first rather than turning around and saying, listen, he's the right man.
Yeah.
Right, next one. Keith Grimes, did he love his KG Express Live Lounge? I'd imagine he did. That's Keith who does all the songs, so...
He's not going to get away from you, Keith,
He's
don't worry.
not going to do. Keep it up, Keith. Les Harper, will success this season determine whether it's been a successful tenure?
Yes.
Yeah, we've just said exactly that. He does need to win. Off the field, I think he has had a successful tenure as head coach of the club, but it needs to, on-field success is...
In 10 years' time,
what
people aren't going to
measured.
look back and go, oh, Justin Holbrook was great.
Yeah.
What did he win?
Matthew Purchase, tough choice as there's been so many, but favourite victory. Mine personally is the last Scaps win over Wire with Danny Richardson, last second pressure kick. Mine's Good Friday this year.
No standouts. There's been a lot of good wins.
Yeah,
Hasn't
exactly.
I like the Salford one.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, Salford at home.
Mine's Good Friday this year. Just the fans were class, the team was class.
The Matty Smith kick.
And
And I think that showed what it meant to Justin Holbrook at the time.
Yeah. If the fans set up a crowdfunding page, what amount of money do we need to get to make him stay, Stu Harrison?
Don't know, but if it's not enough, can we use it to go on holiday?
Well, I think, to be honest, Stu, you'd have to try and make it a little bit more like the Gold Coast in St Helens, so it might take quite a bit of money there. Julie Kennedy, why couldn't it wait until the end of the season? Don't want to unsettle our lads or the fans.
Life doesn't work like that.
I think unsettling is only fans. I don't think it necessarily unsettles the players.
They understand it's life, don't they?
Yeah.
And do you know what? I don't know whether we'll ever get a question about loyalty and etc., but you can't have it both ways. When a coach is failing, you want him to go there and then. When a coach is doing well, you all of a sudden want him to stay. Life's not like that, is it?
Yeah.
It's unfortunately sport's not, and I don't want to break it to a lot of people, but it's a job for a lot of rugby league players, coaches, etc. And they want to do a good job and they want to achieve things, but in life they've got ambition. And if you've got a chance to, well, I'll tell you, if I had a chance to move to Australia, double my wage, and have a better job doing what I'm good at, why wouldn't you?
I'm nodding, I've not listened to a word you've said.
Okay.
Derek Jones, what is the one thing about St Helens Town that he will miss when he goes home?
Redvee TV.
Birchall's Pies. Rhys Davis, who do you think is favourite to take his position?
Well, we've heard Adam O'Brien mentioned. I'd like to tell you I know a lot about him, but I don't, just as I didn't know a lot about Justin Holbrook before he come. I think the first thing a lot of fans did, and let's be honest, that's the majority, would have Googled Justin Holbrook's name to see what he'd done before.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I've heard Jason Dimitri, but I think he's linked with every job that kind of pops up.
I think his wife's from Wids, or local, or Liverpool. I don't see it happening though.
Take him out for a beer then. Pete Richards, does he have any recommendations for a replacement? He probably does, to be fair.
Not going to tell me, is he?
No.
Or you?
No. Tom Foster, just tell him not to take any of our players with him and tell him that we need silverware this year before he goes, and the League Leaders Shield doesn't count. I think he's well aware that about the silverware. Yeah. And taking any of our players, if any of the rumours are to be believed, he's got no say whatsoever in who the Titans signed, because they've got quite a few players linked up to long-term lucrative contracts, so I think he's just stuck coaching. Stephen Bates, who we're going to get to replace his lad in the halves for Thato under-9s next year.
He's staying here. He's under contract to Fato. He's going to have to fly back every weekend.
Alan Fairclough, if he could take one Saints player with him, who would it be?
He'd take Luke Thompson.
He'd take Morgan Knowles.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I'd go for Luke Thompson. Luke Thompson's the one who's most likely, and that's the one we need to nail down to a new contract ASAP.
I think it's Morgan Knowles. I just think he rates him, he talks about him quite a bit. He's made him captain the other week against London. I think that he really rates him. Right, let's just go on to Twitter. Peter Bain says, at the end of the day, it's only a job, and if there's an opportunity to go back home, then I wish him the best. As a fan, it feels like he's going back with a job half done. Maybe the next 3 months will change that. Completely agree with that.
Yeah, we've just said all that.
Seen people wanted, this is Peter again, seen people wanting Mal Meninga to come in. His club coaching record is abysmal. He did a good job at Queensland and Oz record, but anyone could hold that position successfully with the superstars they had. I mean, he's still a massive name and a massive
draw,
crew, isn't he? Yeah. Any fear of, this is just John, any fear of players following? Tom out of contract, end of next year, maybe an early move. Cooters clearly love playing under him. Would he fancy a move back?
well, Lachlan's been for 2 years and won't be going anywhere. Luke Thompson, I don't think it'll just be the Gold Coast Titans who'd be after the signature if he chooses to go to Australia. I think there'll be a lot of clubs, and it's up to Saints to try and make him a deal and make him an offer that he can't refuse. Marquee signing, maybe.
Yep. The Saints, we simply need to continue building on the solid foundation Justin has built. The recruitment of the next coach is absolutely crucial to our progression. Rushy needs all his newfound degree skills to get this one right. Well, he got the last one right, so.
And he was in the first year of that course.
Yeah. Someone mentioning O'Brien from the Roosters might be just what we need to carry on. So, I mean, they're probably more in the know. I don't watch any NRL, to be honest. I'm not a clue.
At least we're honest.
Yeah, exactly.
NRL experts overnight. Hey, mate.
Ian Rigby's just asked why is he going. Well, he just said why. But, well, we've said listen, he's moving back home. And, I mean, where would you rather live?
He walked around St Helens town centre and his favourite shops have gone so.
Grant, will this motivate the team to win what's available left to them?
Like
the effect of Wayne leaving Wigan last year?
I would be worried if the coach leaving was the motivation that they needed.
Yeah.
They should have it anyway.
Yeah, the Saints actually replied to that, saying if they weren't already motivated after the last couple of seasons' shortcomings, absolutely. Darren Iden, why doesn't he just leave now, to be honest? If he clearly wants out of the club, why stay until the end? I highly doubt the players will give 100% for an outgoing coach, so I see no reason for him to stay.
Because the man's a professional. He signed a contract.
I was just not only that, Darren, you've pretty much just called out all of our players to a man unprofessional. Sorry, Darren, I completely don't agree with him going now. He's in here to do a job. He knows he's got a contract. He's honouring that contract. I think our players will give 100%.
What are we going to do? Pay him off?
But it's our players will give 100%. Whether that's enough is another matter.
Listen, I think we know the way the system works at the minute is it's if we turn up on the day, isn't it? End of. If we're looking over the course of the season, Saints are the best side, but the day of reckoning comes in a Challenge Cup final and in a grand final, and that's what we'll be judged on.
Yep.
Last one, maybe?
No, we've got a couple more. Paul Berry, how will the head coaches we've had at Saints over the last 20 years shape our recruitment? You shouldn't have spoke so much, so we could have got through more of these. What lessons will Eamon McManus have learnt?
All questions, no answers.
I think it's probably don't promote from within too soon. Yes. That'll be the main one. Because
do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Paul Wellens go over to Australia with him.
Yeah.
And then come back in a couple of years, and then people will be going, in Australia, why does he want to go? Because he wants to come home for his Birchall's pies.
Exactly. Your ideal replacement?
Somebody who's a winner.
Justin Holbrook version 2.
Whoever Mike Rush deems acceptable. In Rushy we trust.
Yes. Will Holbrook manage to turn around the Titans, or will he end up regretting moving there, given the dire state of the entire Gold Coast setup?
What's the lottery numbers?
Yeah.
Don't know.
I think he will. I think they'll be surprised by him, to be quite honest with you.
I think looking at some of the other coaches who've had success or who have held jobs in the NRL, I think he's a step up on a Nathan Brown.
Yeah, let's batter through these last couple here. What type of legacy will he leave if he doesn't win a significant trophy? He will leave a legacy, but it'll be more remembered for his off-field than his on-field.
And it could be the next coach who reaps the benefits.
Yeah. Ree's replacement, who would you like to see on the shortlist? Someone young, hungry, who's going to come over for 2 or 3 years. I don't mind the turnover of coaches as long as they're the right man for the job.
Yes.
Because it keeps ideas fresh. Do you think we will beat Wire at Wembley? That's an easy one, of course we will. And then the last one is Danny Hardy. Whoever comes in next needs to keep the same ethos at the club and try not to change the style like Kieran did. If they keep it the same and buy to the brand like Justin did, we'll be okay, hopefully. Correct, Danny.
Last question to make it up to 20 minutes. Where does this leave Danny Richardson for next season? Does he look at it as a new coach coming in, a chance to impress?
Yeah, absolutely. This now gives him the last couple of games of this year to cement his place in the squad, make sure he's getting picked, make sure he's putting performances in, and he's still got a year on his contract. There's going to be a new man here start the pre-season next year. Exactly, that's what his aim will be. I've absolutely no doubt.
And we've rattled through 20 minutes on this Justin Holbrook departure special, but he's not going anywhere yet. He's got games to win, trophies to win, and we'll stick along for the ride.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow for the Redvee TV preview show. Catch you soon.